Let the House please be in order. Stand as we are led in prayer this afternoon. The gentlelady from Hines, Representative Butler Washington, will introduce our guest minister. Lady.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon. We have the honor and the privilege of hearing from my pastor, the Reverend Tony Montgomery Sr. He is our senior pastor of the Greater St. James Missionary Baptist Church located here in Jackson, Mississippi. He is a true prayer warrior for his congregation as well as myself. I ask that you welcome him as he comes and brings prayers today.
Would you pray with me? Our Creator and our Sustainer, we gather in this space and time of legislative session to ponder and to press, to push and to progress issues near and dear to our various districts and constituents. We gather to make laws, to improve laws, and if need be, to change laws that may be averse to the furtherance of the prosperity of the people of the great state of Mississippi. Let our minds be creative and clear. Let our intentions be in line with your just will. Cause the bills we present and pass to improve the lives of all Mississippians. Let our voting be in line with your wisdom. And at the end of the day, enable us to make Mississippi an oasis of freedom and justice for all. In the name of our Christ we pray. Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Oh, you're good. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Close the machine, Madam Clerk.
There is a quorum present, Mr. Speaker.
We will have the reading of the journal. Gentleman from Rankin, Representative Powell, moves we dispense with the reading of the journal. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Report of select committees.
We have none, Mr. Speaker.
Report of standing committees.
We have reports on the calendar, Mr. Speaker.
Introduction of bills and constitutional amendments. Gentleman from Marion, Mr. Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent to dispense with the reading of the introductions.
Is there objection to this? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk, we will follow that procedure. Resolutions, petitions, memorials, and other papers.
We have none, Mr. Speaker.
Introduction of guests and visitors. Gentleman from Lafayette, Mr. DeWeese.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I have the pleasure of introducing our doctor of the day. He's standing right over here to my right. It's Dr. Seeger Morris. He is the Chief of Internal Medicine for Baptist Hospital in North Mississippi. Please make him feel welcome.
All right, I don't see any lady. Gentleman from Madison, Mr. McMillan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, in the North Gallery, I want to make welcome Mr. Guy Cormier. He and his team, they run the Mississippi Ag and Outdoor Expo that is down at the Coliseum this weekend. That everybody's got tickets. You all have VIB tickets. You can thank Guy. So he is also in Louisiana. He would be the, I guess, the equivalent of our county supervisors. He runs the county supervisor of the county parishes in Louisiana. So y'all help make Guy welcome.
Welcome, gentlemen. Good to have you here. Lady from DeSoto, Miss Remack.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentlemen and ladies of the House, please welcome Miss Rita Ray, past president of the Mississippi Federation of Republican Women and one of my dear friends.
Lady from Pinole. We're good? I'm sorry. All right, I don't see any further introductions. We do have some special guests, but before we do that, we need to pass a resolution. So I will, at this time, I'll recognize Madam Clerk. I believe we've got a report from the Committee on Rules.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Report of Committee on Rules, H.R. 28, Jack and Jill of America's Legislative Day at the Capitol, recognized February 19th, 2024. H.R. 29, Louisville High School Wildcats football team, congratulate upon winning the 2023 Class 4A State Championship. Title sufficient do be adopted. HCR number 29, State of the State Address of Governor Reeves, call joint session. Title sufficient do be adopted.
Chairman of the Rules, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to call up H.R. number 28.
Is that just the one? You're recognized to explain that resolution.
That is my explanation of the resolution.
All right, if you favor House Resolution 28, if you favor the resolution, indicate by saying aye. If you're opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Anything further on the resolution, gentlemen?
No.
Anything further on the report?
Yes, I'd like to go to HCR number 29 and call it up.
You're recognized to explain the report.
No explanation.
All right, question occurs on the adoption of House Concurrent Resolution 29. Open machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the resolution, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 115 yeas, 1 nay, the resolution is adopted. Anything further, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. One more. I've got HR number 29. I want to call it up.
You're recognized to explain the resolution.
I'm going to let the gentleman from Knoxby handle the resolution.
See. All right, I'll recognize the gentleman to explain the resolution. I'll do it. You need it. Mr. Chairman, if you would handle the resolution,
yes,
please.
Sir. This is to congratulate the Louisville High School Wildcats football team upon winning the 2023 Class 4A State Championship, and I will let the gentleman from Knoxby speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the House. Today is a great day to be a Louisville Wildcat. A resolution commending and congratulating the Louisville High School Wildcats football team and Triple State title coach Tyrone Shorter for winning the 2023 Mississippi High School Activity Association Class 4A Championship. Whereas Louisville High School reign in Mississippi high school football has been solidified with its 12th state title. And whereas the Mississippi High School Athletic Association Class 4A Championship game at Ole Miss Vaught-Hemingway Stadium on December 2nd, 2023 showed the Louisville Wildcats 15-0 dominance. And also whereas Coach Tyrone Shorter chalked up Louisville's success to hard work and dedication. And also, whereas the Louisville were having a 12-1 record in Mississippi High School athletic football title games dating back to 1924, Shorter becomes the first coach in program history to win 3 state titles. Louisville's 12th state championship ties the state record with West Point for the most in Mississippi High School Athletic Association history. Whereas it is with great pride that we recognize the group of students athletes who have brought honor to their school, their community, and to the state of Mississippi. Now therefore be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the state of Mississippi that we do hereby commend and congratulate the Louisville High School Wildcats football team and triple state title coach Tyrone Shorter for winning the 2023 Mississippi High School Athletic Association Class 4A State Championship, and extend the best wishes of the legislature to the team, coaches, parents, and sponsors for future success. Be it therefore resolved that the resolution be furnished to Coach Tyrone Shorter, the Louisville Municipal School Board, and to the members of the Capitol Press. Adopted by the House of Representatives February 15, 2024. Jason White, Speaker, House of Representatives. Carl L. Mickens, District 42, House of Representatives. Ladies and gentlemen, Tyrone Shorter.
All right, if you favor the resolution, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Congratulations, gentlemen, on a great season. Congratulations. Anything further, Mr. Chairman?
No, thank you.
All right, we will go to the calendar. Gentlemen, you would like immediate release on those last resolutions. Gentlemen's asked for immediate release on those resolutions. Is there objection? Hearing none, we will follow that procedure, gentlemen. All right, we will go to the general calendar. Public health passes. Wildlife passes. Judd B. Chairman of Judd B. Gentleman from Grenada, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I call up item number 3, House Bill number 80, and advance the usual motions. We have a committee sub as well.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules to be suspended. The bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. And I believe you have a committee sub, gentlemen?
We do, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman moves the committee sub would be adopted in lieu of the original bill. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You're recognized to explain that committee sub. We're on the committee sub.
Recognize a junior gentleman from DeSoto County to handle the measure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Chamber, House Bill 80, the Zeb Hughes Law, amends the Mississippi Code to presume death when someone goes missing after a catastrophic event when there is uncontradicted sworn testimony and evidence. To better understand this law, we first have to understand why this legislation came about to be. See, this bill, it's about two boys, Gunnar Palmer, Zeb Hughes, two young Mississippians, two young boys full of love and promise who went missing on the Mississippi River while out scouting for ducks back in December of 2020. 3 years later, thousands of volunteers, countless man-hours, years of searching by wildlife and even the fathers themselves. The boys have not been recovered. Now, they did find the truck. They found the trailer that they were using to haul the boat. They found the boat that they were using, capsized, further down the river, upside down, with a large hole in the hull of it, presumably by a large rock. Yet, as we approach the fourth year, these boys, they have not been found, and neither has the parents' closure. See, that's why I'm presenting this bill today. This bill is about closure. It gives Mississippi families the ability to begin healing even while hope remains. House Bill 80 specifically, it would create a presumption of death for a missing person who has undergone a catastrophic event where there is sworn testimony by somebody with firsthand knowledge, law enforcement, first responders, search and rescue personnel, eyewitnesses. This bill would allow the Mississippi Registers of Vital Statistics to prepare a death certificate under such conditions as the Zeb Hughes law describes in a court order. Currently, Mississippi law requires someone to be missing and presumed dead for 7 years. 7 years of pain, 7 years of turmoil, 7 years of agony, but not closure. This bill doesn't erase their memory. It doesn't replace their love. It doesn't erase the importance of their life. It does not erase the love that's left behind. But what this bill does is does allow Mississippi families to begin the process of healing, to begin the process of closure. And so that, Chamber, is the explanation of the bill. I urge your passage of it. Mr. Speaker, that is the explanation, and I yield to questions.
Questions on the bill? Gentleman from Copiah, Mr. Holloway.
Thank you, Gentleman Yield.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, I've heard that story before. It seems like it's kind of close to home to me. Where were these guys from?
Yes, this was down near the Mississippi River, and I would tell you, back in 2022, this chamber passed a House resolution honoring these boys and making a commemoration day and a boat safety day from this actual event.
Okay, so the incident was on the Mississippi River. So where were the boys from? Can you remember?
I cannot recall.
Brookhaven, yes, which is my next door neighbor. Thank you so much.
Gentleman from Washington, Mr. Hines. He passes. Gentleman from Marion, Mr. Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentleman Yield.
I do.
You brought this one particular case out to bring to the floor as use. This is only one of many situations that have happened in Mississippi. Is that not right?
That's correct.
And what this would actually do wouldn't give complete closure to a family or whatever that was going through this catastrophic event, but it would give them a sense of closure to some degree.
Yes, gentlemen, you're absolutely correct. This bill only allows them to begin that procedure of actually healing. Everything else will remain as set, but it does allow the families to at least begin to get that closure that they so desperately seek.
I think you brought a good bill to the floor, and I think it's very commendable.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Gentleman from Adams, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Gentleman Yield.
I do.
Can you turn around and ask the chairman if you're going to handle another bill? Because this is your first bill. I can't haze you on this bill. You got to bring something else that I won't look like a jerk asking you questions.
Gentlemen, I will be back here.
He said he bringing another one. Thank you.
Gentlemen, I feel like his time's coming. I feel like it's coming. Just give it a little time. All right, I don't see any further questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk.
Move for final passage.
If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Somebody vote to presenter. Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 121 yeas, 0 nays, the bill passes. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Item number 4, 286, and advance your usual motions.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, the bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. You're recognized, gentlemen.
Recognize the gentleman from Pearl River to handle the bill.
Gentleman from Pearl River is recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 286 deals with the sexual battery statute of limitations. Currently, there is not a statute of limitations bar for prosecution of sexual battery against a child. However, there is a 2-year statute of limitations for sexual battery crimes committed against adults. This bill would remove that statute of limitation in situations where DNA evidence later identifies the perpetrator of these crimes. There was an incident in South Mississippi where there was an individual committing a series of sexual battery acts against females in the Hattiesburg area. He was never caught by Hattiesburg, but later he was caught in another jurisdiction, and his DNA identified him as the perpetrator of those crimes. However, the state of Mississippi could not prosecute him. This bill would remove that bar and allow those prosecutions to move forward. That is a short explanation of this bill, Mr. Speaker, and I will yield for any questions.
Lady from Lowndes, Ms. McLean.
The gentleman yield.
Yes, ma'am.
So we now have a new rape statute as of last session. Would this also remove the statute of limitations on our rape statute?
Currently, there is not a statute of limitations for rape.
Yeah, okay.
Don't see any further questions.
Move for final passage, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman moves final passage. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 121 yeas, 0 nays, the bill passes. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Item number 5, House Bill 1004, and that's the gentleman from Harrison to first move to adopt the usual motions and advance the usual motions.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, the bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. You're recognized, gentlemen.
Before I do, gentleman from Adams, you'll get another bite at this individual, too. Thank you. I recognize the gentleman from Harrison to handle the legislation.
Gentleman from Harrison is recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, House Bill 1004 is an act to revise definitions when it comes to sex offender registry. Right now, our current legislation defines a permanent residence is that it's someone that lives there for 14 days or more consecutively, and a temporary residence is someone who resides there 7 days or more consecutively. We're going to replace consecutive with aggregate. We've had several responsible agencies run into issues where convicted offenders say they haven't been at that residence consecutively, so they didn't have to report. So it's going to be an aggregate of 14 days for a permanent residence and 7 days for a temporary residence. Finish my explanation. Yield for questions.
Questions on the bill. Gentleman from Oktibbeha, Mr. Taylor.
Introduction out of order, sir.
Are there any questions on the bill? I don't see any. You move final passage, gentlemen?
Final passage.
Gentleman moves final passage. Open machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 118 yeas, 0 nays, the bill passes. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Item number 6, House Bill 904. Call it up and move it, advance the usual motions.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, the bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. You're recognized, gentlemen.
I recognize a gentleman from Harrison County to handle the bill.
Gentleman from Harrison is recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, House Bill 904 simply provides that a judge would have a scale from $100 to $1,000 for an assessment to the Victims of Human Trafficking and Commercial Sexual Exploitation Fund for the crime of domestic violence. Currently, they only have the option for $1,000. So the prosecutors and domestic violence centers has brought forward that this is causing cases to be pleaded to disorderly conduct and simple assault instead of domestic violence. So in conjunction with the Attorney General's office, municipal prosecutors, and the domestic violence centers, we've created this sliding scale that would allow a judge the latitude to make that decision. Mr. Speaker, that concludes an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill? I don't see any.
Move for final passage.
Gentleman moves final passage. Open machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 120 yeas, 0 nays, the bill passes. Gentleman from Oktibbeha, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a few introductions. First of all the way from God's country, where we say more cowbells. Representing Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, we have Dr. Angela Burris Stewart, retired from Mississippi Department of Human Services, Child Care Support Enforcement Officer, currently serving as president of Pi Iota Zeta Chapter, president of the Starkville Area Russ College Alumni Association, and president of the Oktibbeha County 4-H Executive Board. And also we have Miss Erlene Bibbs, retired school teacher from Oktibbeha County. She lives in Crawford. She's also a coordinator for the Pleasant Grove Church Senior Citizens and Community Volunteer in Oktibbeha County. And also Miss Peggy Robertson from Oktibbeha County, home health care provider and community volunteer for Oktibbeha County. Please stand. Please give them a warm welcome for being at their capital. Also, we have in the South Gallery, National Coalition of 100 Black Women Incorporated, Central Mississippi, Ms. Rita Ray, President, Ms. Ray. And also, we'd like to recognize Ms. Stacy Mormon and Ashley Floyd. Please give them a round of applause. And last but not least, also representing Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, we have Ms. Katrina Banyard. Ms. Banyard, please stand. She is the owner director of the Foundation First Development Center and Foundation First Kids Zone. Please give Ms. Banyard a round of applause. Thank you so much.
All right, you're recognizing all those ladies, gentlemen. I want to recognize our Madam Clerk, Felicia Brown. She's dressed in her royal blue and white today, and acknowledge her as a Zeta Phi Beta sorority member. Gentleman from Simpson, Mr. Wallace.
Introduction out of order, Mr. Speaker.
You're recognized.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I'd like for you to help me welcome 3 ladies up here in the North Gallery. 2 of them are my constituents, Miss Helen Johnson, Ruth Bowen, and Faye Foster. Y'all ladies stand up.
Gentleman from Hines, Mr. Banks.
Because I was going to recognize the 3 ladies in black in the South Gallery, but the gentleman from Oktibbeha beat me to it. That's all. Thank you.
Gentleman from Hines, Mr. Gibbs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in the North Gallery, I want to introduce one of my constituents who is an education advocate, Ms. Green. Ms. Green, will you please stand? Thank you for joining us.
Lady from Hines, Ms. Foster.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, in the North Gallery, I would like for Ms. Patricia Woods to stand. She has been serving as a Justice Court clerk for 29 years, representing the largest county in the state, Hines County.
Gentleman from Bolivar, Mr. Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I just want to say I hope all of my distinguished colleagues understand, if you haven't witnessed what is transpiring, all those people you see up there in blue reside in those municipalities that they're talking about. And these are some unique, very unique individuals we see today. Now, we've had all other fraternities and sororities, Mr. Speaker, to come before us, but today you see the real sororities and fraternities. I am honored to stand before you, my distinguished colleagues, and let you know that I am a true member of Phi Beta Sigma. And to have the distinct pleasure of honoring you all today is truly rewarding. I say to each of you, we're excited to have you, and if you will you please stand as I continue to introduce you. For the introduction, we have our State Director, Mr. Cedric Scott, of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, and our executive team and State Director, Dr. Portia Ellis of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority.
Gentleman from Washington, Mr. Hines.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the senior gentleman from Washington, we'd like to ask the House to make welcome two distinguished members of our community, the McClays, John and his teenage bride. Would you please help y'all please stand and please help make them feel welcome. And my teenage bride, who I adore. In fact, the breath I breathe comes out of her mouth. I'm elated to ask you to help make my wife feel welcome, Cynthia Hines, who's the boss list for the chapter in Washington County.
Gentleman from DeSoto, Mr. Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In our South Gallery, I would like to recognize Matthew Kelso. Matthew Kelso is here with the Leadership DeSoto group that is involved in public service and community enrichment in our home DeSoto County. So please make them feel welcome. Thank you.
Gentleman from Hines, Mr. Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the North Gallery, I want to ask everybody to welcome my beautiful, very energetic friend, Valencia Robinson. Did you bring your folding table with you today?
Gentleman from Harrison, Mr. Hullum.
Yes, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. In the South Gallery, can we recognize the Mississippi Black Women's Roundtable there in the South Gallery? Let's please make them welcome, sir.
Welcome to you all. All right, we'll go back to the calendar. Chairman Judd B. has yielded. I believe the chairman of universities and colleges. Mr. Chairman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to bring up House Bill 302, item number 9 on the calendar today.
You make the usual motion, gentlemen.
Make the usual motions.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, the bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. You're recognized, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to ask the gentleman from Neshoba to present the bill, please.
Gentleman from Neshoba is recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our annual NIL bill, name, image, likeness. This comes to us at the request of our universities across the state. All this bill is doing in the name, image, likeness statutes that's currently on the books is bringing code sections forward. We're not making any changes to the current law. The universities have asked us to bring forward these code sections just in the event before we get out of here at the end of April, 1st of May, that if anything changes with the NIL landscape at the NCAA level or any other level that protects, that we need to have something added to our statute that protects the interests of the university and the student athletes, will have a vehicle to do that. Nothing has changed in this bill. It's just current statute. We're bringing the code sections forward just to keep something alive through the process. Here again, it does come to us at the request of all of our universities, and that's an explanation of the bill, Mr. Speaker.
Questions on the bill? Gentleman from Washington, Mr. Hines.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentleman Yield.
Yeah.
Have there been any problems with the NIL with any universities?
You know, gentlemen, I'm not going to say there's been any identifiable problems. I mean, the NIL is a work in progress. Obviously, a student can be compensated for his name, image, and likeness. Okay, he's not considered under current law an employee of the university or an employee of that institution or anything like that. As you well know, NIL is a moving thing across the country and across college athletics, as is the transfer portal, but this bill has nothing to do with the transfer portal, just the name, image, likeness. Student athletes are now being compensated for their name, image, and likeness. And, you know, are there problems? Is it things to work through as this program across the country progresses? Probably so, and I think that's why the universities across the state want to be ready in case we do have anything we have to address.
I was just asking because, you know, we hadn't really heard anything. I was concerned maybe if I had an agreement with Nike and the school had a contract with Adidas, how does that affect? Yeah.
Well, so the student athlete, he cannot enter into a NIL agreement that brings forward the university into his NIL unless the university allows him to do that. But in answer to your question, I'm not aware of any specific incidents where in a name, image, likeness agreement that an athlete has not gotten what he has agreed to in the agreement.
All right, thank you.
Gentleman from Hines, Mr. Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentleman, you yield?
Yes.
So I hear that you're saying that there is no changes in this bill, you're bringing it forward just in case something occurs through the court system on the federal level. My question to you is, these universities that have come to you, what were their concerns?
Gentlemen, it's hard to say because here again, the NIL across the country is a moving thing. I mean, some universities are in agreement, and I'm not going to name any universities in the state of Mississippi one way or the other that may be far against the NIL. I would think that most of them are for student athletes being compensated in some way, but I don't know of anything specific. We just need to keep a vehicle alive here again to protect the interests of the universities and the student athletes.
So my next question is, those universities came to you, they didn't give you a specific concern, but they said they were concerned. But if you hear the coaches that talk about NIL and how they complain about how NIL has made the game worse because of what the student athletes are gaining as a result of their athletic prowess on the field, are we in the process of trying to limit those individuals from receiving funds?
Oh, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Current law doesn't do that. Gentlemen, I mean, the agreements, I mean, statutes are in place here right now that allows a student to enter into an NIL agreement with whoever. You know, they can't enter into one with a university or anything like that. But, you know, it's just here again, no, the university has not none of the universities have brought forward any concerns, but as it does move across the landscape of college athletics across the country, and the NCAA is in the process of maybe making changes, and all this does is keeps us a vehicle alive that first protects the interests of the student athlete and the universities themselves.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Gentleman from Hines, Mr. Brown.
Gentleman yield.
Yes, sir.
You know, we had this debate last year.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, and what relationship do you have with the NC2A in terms of putting this law on the book?
You talking about me personally?
Well, I mean, I would think that the NCAA would have to sanction this in some kind of way or some kind of capacity. Accept it at least.
Well, so states have their own, different states have their own NIL statutes set up.
I'm aware of that. I'm talking about the NCAA though.
Some of the statutes, and especially across the Southeastern Conference and across the other member conferences of schools across the state, they are they're not in complete agreement with the NCAA on everything. But I will say, gentlemen, that just because the NCAA says it or prints it or publishes or whatever doesn't make the NCAA right. Not always is the interest of the student athlete and the university at the forefront of the university, at the NCAA's mind.
Are there any other states pursuing this same?
There's all states all across the country that are doing the same thing we're doing and keeping code sections alive. And you mentioned last year. We passed it last year. Senate passed the same thing. Both of them died on the calendar because there was no need. The universities saw no need to bring anything forward before the end of the session. So all we're doing is keeping the vehicle alive and, again, protecting the interests of the student athlete and the universities.
Well, we don't want to be looked on as meddling.
No, absolutely not. Mr. Speaker, I will say, too, I want to add this as a footnote, that this has nothing to do with changing the name of the W.
All right, well, the lady from Jones, Ms. Scott, has a question. She may want to talk to you about that.
All right.
Thank you. Gentlemen, I want to ask you this. On line where it defines the student athlete.
What line?
76 through 83.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me the NCAA, when a young person who has done everything to become a student athlete at any of the schools that the NCAA has purview over, if that child becomes injured while they are a student athlete, does the NCAA not allow for a university to let that child to continue on scholarship outside of the allocated number that the NCAA says that they can have on scholarship?
Lady, I'm going to say that is probably an individual call of each university. I can't answer specifically what if any, NCAA regulation may be in place for that. I know that usually most of the time universities would honor if a student athlete is injured in an activity or whatever and he was on full scholarship, that his scholarship would remain. That doesn't have anything to do with an NIL agreement that he may have with somebody outside the university.
I wanted to ask you that question because the University of Mississippi, with the young gentleman Chucky Mullins who was injured, to me, the University of Mississippi showed what the standards should be towards an athlete, towards a student athlete who was injured. And like you said, the NCAA may not be in agreement with those things, but if they are listening, they need to know that Mississippi takes care of their children, and that ought to be a standard that the NCAA ought to be adhering to, that if a child, would you not agree that if a child goes and that child is hurt, they still ought to be able to get their education?
Lady, I would agree that Mississippi is probably more gratuitous toward a student athlete in that kind of situation than other states may be. But again, I can't speak directly for what the NCAA regs are on that.
Don't see any further questions, gentlemen.
Move final passage, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman moves final passage. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 113 yeas, 2 nays, the bill passes. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to bring up item number 10, House Bill 939, and call on the gentle lady from Rankin to present the bill.
You make the usual motion, gentlemen?
Yes, sir.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, the bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Lady from Rankin is recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 939. This bill updates the composition section of Mississippi University Research Authority, also known as MURA, to allow for the University of Mississippi Medical Center to be appointed by AHL to MURA. It also has a few technical changes or cleanups to the bill. It removes the Department of Economic and Community Development and replaces it with Mississippi Development Authority. That's because that's what we're calling it now. Also, it removes President of Mississippi Resource Development Corporation because that does not exist anymore. And then you'll notice line 10 removes the word chief from Chief Research Officer. And yeah, that completes my description of the bill. Any questions?
Questions on the bill? I don't see any, lady.
All right, move final passage.
Lady moves final passage. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 120 yeas, 0 nays, the bill passes. Anything further, Mr. Chairman?
No, sir. I'd like to ask for immediate release on both of those, please.
Gentleman asks for immediate release. Is there objection? Hearing none, we will follow that procedure. Gentleman from Marshall, Mr. Kincaid.
Yes.
State your request.
Item 2, House Bill 300, I'd like unanimous request to recommit that bill for further consideration.
Chairman moves to recommit the bill. Those opposed have 5 minutes. Any member wish to speak? Don't see anyone seeking recognition. If you favor the gentleman's motion to recommit, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Any other chairman wish to take up an item? I believe we're down to item 11. Transportation passes. All right. Announcements by the clerk's office.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For today, 10 minutes after adjournment, Business and Commerce will have an organizational meeting in room 114. Technology will have a joint meeting with the Senate at 3 o'clock in room 216.
Announcements by the members. I don't see any. I recognize the gentleman from Rankin for the motion.
I move that the House stand adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Gentleman's motion is the House stand adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow. If you favor that motion, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The House stands adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow.